it's Greg Luther, and I'm here with one of the top real estate agents throughout the Phoenix, Arizona area, Mr. Rick Hancock. How are you today?
Doing awesome. Thank you for having me.
Great, great. Well, listen, I'm very excited to learn a little bit about the decades you've been involved in the real estate business, and you've had quite the transition, everything from building to now representing buyers and sellers as a real estate agent. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in the business, and I guess kind of the origin story for you?
Well, I grew up in the home building business. My dad was a home builder here in the Valley for many, many years, going back to the early 50s. He had a company called Cavalier Homes, and he built several thousand homes. Since then, we have continued on with the building business, working with my brother, and we had a company for many, many years.
Okay.
And just built a lot of homes over the years.
Yeah, well, tell me about that. Like, I know you've done literally tens of thousands of properties throughout Arizona, so you know all of the nooks and crannies and areas. How many homes have you guys built? And then we'll kind of get into what you're doing today and working with buyers and sellers.
We've built over the years, we built probably 20,000 plus homes over the years. Wow. Maybe a couple hundred communities in all areas of the Valley, north, south, east, and west.
Okay.
I've covered it all.
So you've seen all price ranges, all areas, that type of thing. Has it always been pretty much in the Phoenix, greater Phoenix area?
It's all been in Metro Phoenix.
Okay.
That's correct. Maricopa County is where we specialized in.
Okay.
Even my father.
Okay, and you've done that since you were a kid, basically, since your dad did it as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, swinging a hammer at an early age, growing up, I'd sweep out houses and pull weeds around the spec houses and things like that.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
you know, little by little, I'd move into the office and do some things. And didn't get a long time to work with my father because he sold the business when I was in high school, but I learned as much as I could as quick as I could.
Yeah. So the Hancock franchise or enterprises, so to speak, I know you've had several different building companies and different versions of Hancock, and really a lot of people watching this may be in some sort of a Hancock property.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about how that transition has happened for you. I know a lot of those homeowners over the years have then wanted to sell that property and they've came back to you. So now you're a real estate agent. If you want to kind of talk a little bit about what you do there and the type of people you're helping.
Yeah, back in the day when we were building, I ran all the sales. I was in charge of the VP of sales, hired and trained all the salespeople. So really helped a lot of homeowners over the years. Many are still living in our homes today. Many have reached out to us to transition into making a lifestyle change, either buying or selling, either downsizing or maybe they're upscaling, depending on what their lifestyle mode is.
Yeah.
So been able to help in that in transition because I'm no longer in the building side of the business. I'm more in the resale side of the business and really working with those families in our different communities over the years.
Okay. So you've seen kind of the growth of those families. They might have been a young couple when they first bought the house in the 80s, 90s, whatever. And now as they've kind of moved up, they may be moving to a larger home, moving to a smaller home. What price ranges had you worked in before? Did you do small homes and up to the luxury market?
Yeah, we did all sorts of price ranges. We had homes that started in the 70s for first-time homeowners, and we had homes that, sell for $500,000.
Yeah.
Some more of the luxury homes. We were always a high production builder, if you'd call it that. We'd do 1,000 to 1,500 homes a year, pretty consistently over the years.
Yeah.
So that was our forte and that was our niche. And so we've really helped a lot of those people.
Yeah, and that's surprising. I mean, like your average agent sells about 10 houses a year. So
right.
if you're building 1,500 houses. You've worked with an awful lot of families. And I'm sure it's been shocking for you over the years, like a luxury home sold for $500,000. What are those things selling for today? Those are over $1 million bucks, I would
Well,
say.
they could be, yeah, very well. They could be up over $1 million today.
Yeah.
It just depends on the neighborhood, if you're building in Scottsdale or some of the other parts of the valley. But
And they were quality built, so they're in good shape.
Yeah, they all came with a 20-minute warranty. No.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, well, very good. So, the folks you're working with now, they might be selling their home and moving somewhere else or just moving to a larger or smaller home. What is it you're doing now as a real estate agent that makes you stand out? Because, of course, for Phoenix, Arizona, there's thousands of agents. Why should someone work with you? I mean, it's a big benefit if you built the house, first of all, and of over 20,000 builds that you guys have had, there's a good chance you might have had something to do with that house. But why should someone choose you as a real estate agent? What are some of the advantages for them?
Well, one of the things I've noticed in recent years is the market has changed. I mean, the internet has really changed the way we do business in all businesses, especially in the real estate business. I mean, homeowners and sellers are able to now go online and do their own research. So what you have to do is you have to stand out and be different than everybody else. You can't just stick a sign in the yard, hopefully somebody will show up, put it on the MLS, and try and get their home sold this way. You have to be target marketed and you have to do direct marketing to specifically go find a buyer for their home that fits that need. And so that's what I do differently than what other agents are currently doing.
Yeah, and I was curious about that. I was looking at some information before our meeting here that you're using that targeted marketing approach, what they call the most opportune buyer.
Right.
Tell me about that. So from what I gathered, like if there's a wine cellar in the property, you can actually go find people that collect wine or maybe subscribe to Wine Connoisseur magazine. If it's on a golf course, you can find those that have an interest in golfing. How do those lists work, or how do you find those people in the Phoenix area?
Well, what we use is our mailing list brokers, and you can go online and you can be as specific as you need to be depending on the home that you're trying to sell, or somebody looking to buy. And then what you can do is you can input that information to specifically advertise to that particular client that's looking for that home.
Okay, so you can get email address or phone number or mailing address or Facebook page or whatever.
Exactly. It's more of a laser guided approach than it is more of a shotgun approach that we've done in the past. So it's a little different, more specific.
And I think that's where a lot of agents kind of struggle, because I've met with an awful lot of real estate agents, and you know, I'm with a big company, or we have a Sunday television show or something like that, and it is that shotgun approach, you know, hoping that we're getting it out to enough people, whereas you're much better off to find that perfect group of people and only market to them. You know, in this day and age, it's certainly changed a lot that people can work from home. So if the property has an office area, or, you know, we can go after small business owners or somebody that works from home, targeting them, you're really selling that property for the most opportune use of the home, the highest and best use. So they potentially would pay more, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the methods have changed so much. I mean, it's no longer putting homes in magazines. I mean, you can, but people do all their research online.
Yeah.
Over 95% of the people start online doing their research. So to go and spend a lot of money to put money in a magazine and do something online just really doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you have to change up with what you're doing today to adapt to the current market. And that's where I'm different than everyone else, and going after those buyers to help them specifically find a buyer for their needs, or seller.
Okay, very good. Well, tell me a little bit about kind of the markets that you've worked in. Obviously, doing it over 30, 40 years, you've worked really everywhere throughout Phoenix, Arizona area. What are some of the cities you've worked? Where do you like to work the most? And I know you travel a little bit, as any salesperson would do. We travel around. But tell me a little bit about kind of the areas you have worked and like to work.
Okay, we've worked in all parts of the valley. You know, currently we live up in North Scottsdale, so I've got a kindling spirit to the North Scottsdale area, because that's where we live, and that's been our home for the last 20 years. But we've worked out in the West Valley, we worked out in Avondale, Litchfield, Buckeye. We've worked all in the Southeast Valley, in Gilbert and Mesa and Chandler, Tempe. As far down south as Queen Creek in the Santan Valley area. Of course, up here in North Scottsdale, we built up here in North Scottsdale. And really, just about every part of the valley I've been to. Wow. I ran all the sales back in the day, so it wasn't uncommon for me to put a couple hundred miles in my car on a daily basis. Wow. Reaching out to everything. So I will work all niches of the valley. Because I'm familiar with the areas. And so if that's where I need to go, that's where I'll go. Okay, so tell me about yourself today. Like, you're no longer building, working more in that residential resale side. So I know you take a lot of pride in being able to help the homeowners to get superior results. You know, I know when we were talking before the meeting here today, you've kind of considered it like you semi-retired because you're not building 1,500 houses in a year. So you know, that's an awful lot. 3 or 4 homes done every day is huge. But you know, it's kind of a semi-retirement for you, but you are a full-time real estate agent and are certainly getting some pretty significant results for your homeowners. So tell me a little bit about who you are today and why you love doing what you're doing. Well, decades of being in the business and being semi-retired, I've just seen the changes that are taking place in the marketplace, and I really want to get back to the mode of where we were back in the day. Okay. And so with this direct marketing approach, it gives me a whole different leash on life, if you want to say. It gives me excitement to get back in there, because I know that I can go back into the niches and do things differently than what other realtors aren't doing. Much the same mindset that we had when we were in the building business. It's just a different direction. Yeah.
And I know some of the stuff that I read about you online, like it makes perfect sense. I've always heard before, if you want to learn how to do something, you should teach it. And you were a sales trainer for a lot of the people in the build industry. So, you know, you were working with them to say, hey, when a home buyer comes into our model, this is what you need to do, or you need to, you know, change it up this way to keep them comfortable, to make sure it's a good purchase for them. So not only are you good at sales, but you've trained people at that. So someone that's looking to sell their property has a true trained sales professional that can do a good job. When a buyer's interested in their home, you can kind of, you know, make them feel comfortable, make sure it's a good investment for them, and they, you know, obviously want to look at this home in lieu of all others. Maybe you can make that home stand out a little better based on those sales skills and relationship skills.
Yeah, I would say because of my years of experience in the business, my dad always told me sales is where it's at. Learn to sell. I mean, everybody's buying or selling something, some kind of product or service today. And just get really, really good at that. So I started off in the sales aspect of the business. I transitioned out of sales into the construction side of the business before I went back into sales, because I really wanted to understand the components of building a home. That's helped me tremendously. And then I went into management. And so I was able to share those lessons that I've learned over the years with the salespeople. So now as I transition into this aspect of the business, I mean, the minute I walk through the threshold of the front door, I understand my purpose and why I'm there. And I have a thorough knowledge and understanding not only of the sales cycle of the business, but equally as important, the construction side of the business, because I was heavily involved in the home building side of the business with construction and sales and finance and all aspects of the business. That's really helped me transition into this aspect of it as well.
And that certainly helps a lot, you know, in lieu of like hiring a real estate agent that's 25 or 30 years old and doesn't really have good communication skills. You know, I mean, it's all digital and text and that type of thing now. You've always been more in that relationship type scenario with your prospects and your clients, which makes a big, big difference. So if someone were coming into my home, I want to have a real estate agent that knows how to connect with them and knows how to make them feel comfortable that this is the place they need to be. So, you know, that's probably part of the reason you're getting such superior results for those clients.
Exactly. I've always had an open book policy and an open door policy with the salespeople. It says I want to be transparent. I need to know what's going on. So they were taught as they worked for me, this is what needs to be done. You need to be my eyes and ears when you're out in the community. You're there. You're the first line of contact that a home buyer has when they come into the community. So I've always had that mindset. And so I've transitioned that into the resale side of the business. And you have to be a good listener. You have to understand why you're there, what are they looking to do with their home, and how you can help facilitate that buy or sell for their home. And so it's been rather easy for me because of my background, I would say.
Right, and I've always heard that, you know, the best salesperson is the one that has the best questions, not the best answers.
That's correct.
You know, a lot of times in sales we're taught scripts or here's a good objection handling. You're actually better off just to give them the right questions to make sure, is this a good fit for them?
Exactly, and that's the way I train the salespeople to do that as well. You know, everybody's different that walks through the door. Make a friend before you make a sale. And I think that's so important. Oftentimes, we get inundated with phone calls today. We get inundated with emails. Everybody's trying to sell. You'll answer your phone, and it's a number you don't recognize, and you tell them I'm not interested, and they keep talking. That drives me crazy. You know? And they don't respect your time. And so, my attitude has always been, I'm here to help. What can I do to help you? I think that has to start there. Because if you walk through the front door and you're starting to sell, and close, I think people want to be a little standoffish. And I'm there to serve their needs and what their wants are in a very low key way. I think you'll get a lot more mileage that way if you do it that.
Absolutely. We are still in the relationship business.
Still in the relationship business, and that's never going to change.
So if you're meeting with a homeowner that's maybe considering selling their home but not really sure yet, what does that process usually look like? And do you give them an accurate assessment of the value of their home and how much would they walk away after all of the fees and closing costs and all of that to see if it is the right time to move? Do you offer kind of no obligation meetings? How would that work for someone to just get a little more research from you?
Yeah, we offer a no obligation phone call. And I'll even come out to their home. Under no conditions. Let me come out and see your home. I mean, being that we built so many homes in the valley, chances are I've probably been in your home. You know, if it's one of our communities. But come in and just show me around, show me your home. Tell me where you are. What station of life are you in? Are you looking to do something now? Are you looking to do something down the road? And then depending on what their answers are to me, I can sit down and tell them what their home is worth, how we can target market their home, how we can go, what's the best approach to get their home sold for the quickest and for the most amount of money. So it really depends on what it is, what's their fit, and what their timing is to get that done.
Yeah, and obviously with that type of marketing, it creates more demand for their home, which statistically it should sell for more money. You know, if we can get a couple of people fighting over the property, multiple offers,
Absolutely.
that your client wins, you know.
Exactly.
So that's,
well, and it starts with the pricing.
yeah.
You know, so many times I see you go on the MLS and you see homes that priced way too high, and then they're lowering the price and lowering the price and lowering the price.
Yeah.
I think you need to be realistic with your price. Everybody wants to get the most out of their home. I totally understand that, and I can relate to that. But you have to be realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, do you want to sell it now, or do you want to sell it a year from now?
And if you get enough people interested, it'll sell for more than what you anticipated.
Exactly.
You know, if you see a '69 Mustang on eBay, it might start at $1. We
Right.
know it's not going to sell
Exactly.
at that.
Right.
But if we can get them arguing over it, you know, I've always found the most aggressive marketing agents, they will price the home fair but aggressively, and they don't even consider it an asking price. They consider it a starting price.
Correct.
Right? We're starting here, and if we can get enough people fighting over it, it'll go up in price. So much
Exactly.
different concept that way.
Yeah, and that's much more efficient.
Yeah.
And it's very effective
Absolutely.
than starting too high, and you might get 1 or 2 calls, or might not get any calls at all, and then you have to go back. Then you have to go back to the seller and say, you know what, we priced your home too high, it wasn't realistic, and we need to make some adjustments.
Yeah, you're kind of shooting
I'd rather
yourself
work it
in the
up than
foot.
work it down.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Well, let me ask you, how can someone reach out to you, and who are you working with mostly? Are you working with home buyers, home sellers? You know, tell me a little bit about that and how they can reach you as well.
Work with a lot of sellers.
Okay.
Also working with buyers as well. So I'd be more than happy to work on both sides. And to get a hold of me, I'm with the ExP Realty. They can call 602-717-3705. My email is rick.hancock@exprealty.com.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us here today and learning a little bit about your target marketing approach.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you as well.
All right, thanks.